Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cosmo. If you don't know who I am already, welcome back to another video on my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys some things that might help you understand beach a little bit more, if that makes sense. I know I made the 2 beach tips and tricks videos like a good year or 2 ago, which is like still currently my most viewed video on my channel so far, which I'm really glad about that. But in this video, it's going to be more in depth of understanding the beach. And when I mean understanding the beach, I mean like understanding like positions, like basically like power positions, like understanding where the person is going to spawn, when they're going to spawn, understanding where you should be standing at, if there are enemies in a specific spot where you should be at, or basically random things that could possibly help you with little things when playing beach, if that helps out. And when I go in depth with this video, the way how I'm going to explain it in this entire video is I'm going to go from one end of the beach to the other. I'm going to explain from one end. I'm going to start from this end of the beach, and I'm going to be explaining as many parts of the beach as I can, all the way down till we get to this part of the beach over here by the little lifeguard tower, all the way at the end. If you're interested with this video so far, just let me know down in the comment section, and let's just jump straight into this. So off rip, one thing I'm gonna go ahead and get out the way, this is one of the worst positions to be at when you're playing beach. If you're in the middle of a beach 1v1, this is literally one of the worst positions to stand at. The boardwalk, this is one of the most easiest parts to get a keck at. Just want to let you guys know and remind y'all that the both here and all the way down here at that little slope, both ends of the beach are the most easiest parts to get kecked at and to like get kecks at. So if you ever spawn both here or at that other end, that little spot, and I'm gonna show you later on in the video, but if you ever spawn here, this is the worst place you should ever be. No matter what position you are, no matter where the fuck you are, no matter where the fuck your opponent is, they could be all the way down here, they could be right here. My nigga, if they're right here or anywhere in this area, just say GG's and just accept your fate, because there's like, this is literally, no matter where they are on the beach, this is the most like vulnerable position you could put yourself in. For the people that are like me, that likes the ego chow, if you don't feel like egoing, depending on where your opponent is, because off rip, if you're right here and your opponent's like right there or anywhere past the main spawn, they should be automatically sending you a CEO invite, or they're just trying to just hoe you and keep you stuck down here. But if your opponent is anywhere from up here to pushing up here, anywhere around the lifeguard tower, if they just suck at shooting homings and they don't kill you off of here, if they're in this area, what you can do is shoot grenades over here towards this area, and you can be able to force them right there in this little area right here. And this goes from right here, from right there, sometimes it goes out there depending on how you force and where you force, but basically this entire area from here all the way to here, you gotta make sure you spread your grenades out. Whenever you like try to like force a specific spawn, you gotta make sure you like spread your grenades out, that it covers an entire surface area. You can't just shoot in a specific spot. What you can, if you feel ballsy enough that you think you can force them in a specific spot, you can go ahead. That's up to you. But if you want to like guarantee that you're going to be able to at least do something towards them, it's best to spread out your grenades in like a specific spot, or at least every spot that you're trying to force is best just spread out your shits to cover like a large ass surface area. But back to what I was saying, if you were able to force them over here, you can either be able to get like the most luckiest kill of your life, or you can be able to keck them from here. And from how I do it, if you keck them from here or kill them here, you can easily, because you're already in the most easily keckable spot ever, if you kill them when they're right there, you can go ahead and just free ball to say fuck it and force them to spawn behind you on the boardwalk right here behind you. That's the pattern that I usually go in whenever I'm in this position right here. So whenever I'm in this position right here and they're like right down there, if they're right here and they don't invite you to CEO, I try to make them spawn down here by shooting some rockets in that area, straight all over there. Make sure to shoot rockets in this entire front lifeguard area right here. If they EWO, shoot a couple grenades over here in front of this lifeguard tower, and shoot shoot as many explosives as you can in this area right here. And if you make them EWO over here, you get the most freest, and I'm telling you, the most freest keck attempt to make them spawn on you right here, anywhere across the boardwalk. Now, if you spawn on boardwalk and you EWO, the game's gonna always spawn you in this area, and this area covers from over here all the way to right here. So this whole entire area right here is going to be your next spawn whenever you EWO from the boardwalk over there. Same thing with how I explained on the boardwalk. If you spawn on the boardwalk, or if you spawn over here and they just have horrible aim and they miss every single thing, or you feel like you can like survive and stay alive and just do whatever you can from here, you have another free like double kick opportunity, or not exactly a free double kick opportunity, but if they're right here and you make them EWO from where they are right there, because they're either going to be right here in front of this lifeguard tower in this little area, from right there to behind the railing over there, they're going to be in that area. But if they're not in that area, they're going to be either back there, from that back area over there, from there into the water, so that whole entire back surface area, or this front lifeguard area. And if they're in the front lifeguard area and they EWO, what do you know? You now have another one of the most freest keck attempts ever. Whenever you go for a force spawn when you're in this area, the most simplest way is to just shoot beside you. Just shoot a rocket beside you, or try and go for like a side spawn beside you. And you can either shoot beside, shoot back here, or easiest way to do it is just by shooting on your side. But what I like to do to like make it easier to get a keck, especially when you're in like areas like this, I like to run up to try and get like an easier way to force them in like the specific spawn that you want them to spawn at. So if you want to like guarantee, or at least come close to guaranteeing that you want them to spawn in that specific spot that you want them to spawn at, you can run up a little bit and then basically try and force whatever spawn you're trying to force. And if they don't spawn there, they'll either spawn over there or anywhere around you that's close enough to where they might shotgun you, or you can like luckily like kill yourself and evade. So now we're moving a little bit further down the beach, and from here, when you either spawn in this position right here, this is another kind of bad spot to be in, because you can get easily picked off. You can easily like homing killed from up there where we were just at. Someone can easily shoot a rocket at the slope right here, because fun fact, the slopes are like the easiest place to get like killed off by homers, because like the blast radius and that dumb shit. So if you spawn right here, depending on where your opponent is, if they're right here, if they're in this area, or if they're like down here in this area, no matter which end that they are, you're either gonna get picked off either way. But if your opponent is in this area, you have two options depending on how long they've been in that area. Like if they just spawned there, or if they've been spawning there for a while. If they're in this area and you make them EWO, if they've been alive long enough, you can go for the most freest like side kick, which is what I usually do. I usually just shoot a grenade on my side right here. Or if they just spawned there, like if you made the spawns flip and you made them spawn over there and they EWO, what do you know? You got the most freest boardwalk head. Just shoot as many rockets as you can up on the boardwalk, and depending on how fast and how far you spread the rockets, it's gonna be kind of hard for them to not get keck. But if you want to switch it up, if you want to try and be a rat and switch it up, you can do what I do. After you get your little like boardwalk keck, or try and get whatever you can off the boardwalk, if you keck them or kill them, there will always, well, it's not, I won't say always, but it's always like a 90% chance they will spawn back in this area. And once again, you got to make sure that you spread your grenades out to cover the entire surface area, if you want to be able to like guarantee that you're going to get a keck, or at least get something off. If they don't spawn in this area after you kill them off boardwalk, they're just going to spawn off. So that means you're going to have to invite them to a CEO. But if they don't spawn over there and they spawn over here, then boom, what do you know? You now have a double keck opportunity. And this is also what I would point out, one of the easiest places to get a triple keck. If you make your opponent spawn up there and you shoot rockets up here on the boardwalk, to any other beach player that watches this, they're gonna see, or at least to any other beach player that like plays beach, they see this as like the most freest like keck chance ever. So if they do get a chance to get that off, next instinct, should be to shoot grenades in this area over here where we would just add, and make sure that they cover a good amount of the area. And depending on where they spawn at, you probably keck them with a grenade. You probably got a second grenade keck right there. And what do you know? You just got yourself a double keck. Now usually other people would EWO, or usually other people would just stick with that double keck and like flip it or something. But no, I like going for triples. I like making my opponent feel bad, you feel me? So after you get that double keck right there, the way how you can fully humiliate your opponent is by running up and going for a side spawn keck. Going for any side spawn keck whenever your opponent is in that area, and you make them EWO or you keck them, depending on where you shoot the grenades or how fast you force their spawn, it's like a 80% chance that they will always spawn right beside you in this area, depending on where you stand. If you're standing in the water, they will always, or they'll have a 90% chance of spawning up here. And if you're standing up here, they will have an 80% chance of spawning over here or spawning behind you back here. And just like that, what do you know? You just got yourself a triple keck. You a demon now, bro. Now let's push a little bit further back down to this area. I call this the halfway point, because from main spawn to the pier, this is even though the lifeguard tower is like the obvious halfway point, I see this as like the main spawn halfway point, because this is a very common area to get like starter kecks off. And when I mean starter kecks, I mean whenever you're at like main spawn and whoever EWOs or whoever stays alive basically shoots grenades, and then they do the basic little start off to shoot grenades, shoot a home in the other way, blah 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 blah. Usually this area right here is one of the most common like places to get like starter kecked off of. Now if you're standing in this area and your opponent is down here, same way with what I said in this position, you can do the same thing that you did in this position where we're currently at. Same way, but this time you can double it. You can be more ratty, because I did this before. If they spawn right here and they EWO, you can obviously go for the basic boardwalk keck, the blah 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 blah, and then the hamana. Boom, oh my god, you killed him, blah blah blah, you're a demon. And then you go over here. After you make them EWO over here, instead of shooting grenades, you shoot as many rockets as you can to cover this entire area right here. And then depending on where they are, you probably could have kecked them, or at least did some type of damage that made them want to be scared and EWO. And if they didn't EWO, you probably killed them and kecked them. They probably spawned over there, for example. Boom, you killed them, you kecked them, oh my god, you're Jesus Christ. But instead of going for a side keck, because obviously you're kind of far, best thing to do is go for a close, or not a close, but a mid-range grenade keck. And the mid-range grenade keck is basically shooting at like a mid-range spawn. Like for example, the place that we were just at, that spot we were previously at is a perfect mid-range spawn. But if you are a demon and you ended up kecking them or killing them in one of these two spots, you're gonna think, oh my god, you got a triple keck, oh my god, I'm a demon, I'm gonna clip it and post it. No, you still have one more chance. You still have one more chance of kecking them. Now follow along. If you if you mid-range grenade keck them from here or here, and you make them EWO or you keck them or kill them, one thing I usually do is, depending on the distance, if they're right there and they die behind the railing, I usually stand right here, shoot a couple grenades, and then go for a free side spawn. I usually go for the most freest side spawn right here. And now we are currently at main spawn, the most prominent, most powerful place that anybody could be on the entire beach. The highest point of the beach, the most lethal part of the beach. Once niggas get on main spawn, it's gonna be kind of hard to get them off. There's like multiple ways you could be a main spawn demon. At main spawn, you could force whatever, whenever, wherever. But the obvious, like the average positions that you're gonna be in is whenever you're first starting off, we're gonna pretend that we're just now starting a 1v1. Like boom, your opponent just EWO'd. First thing I usually do is I shoot a couple grenades over here just to go for like a starter keck, and then what I do is I shoot like a lucky rocket right back there. I shoot it specifically in this area because this is a very common area that I like to go for, because I know that If they don't spawn in this area, they're gonna spawn over here in this area back there, and that little back end right there. And either or, just personal preference, I don't usually go for the spawn right here. I sometimes do and I sometimes get it, but it's like all pure luck. I always shoot for this spawn right here. I always shoot for that little back spawn right there, and I make sure that I hit it directly, so I have like a very high chance of getting like that rocket kick off. But just in case, if you don't want to like fulfill with like getting like a back kick or nothing, if you want to like shoot like a couple grenades up front and then just shoot like an extra rocket at wherever you think the grenades didn't reach, and if you made your opponent EWO, or you made them get cacked or kill them or blah 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 blah, they're always going to probably 80% spawn on you. And depending on where you are, what I usually do is, since I like forcing people behind me, what I usually do is I always shoot a couple grenades and I always go for a back spawn, depending on who I'm playing and where I'm playing at. And the back spawn is either, I always shoot in this area, because this is another common like back spawn part. I always shoot in this area right here. But if you want to like try to like guarantee like a specific spot, what I usually do is I usually run up into this area right here, and then I go for a side spawn. But the specific spot I go for is I go for anywhere that's in here to like here, anywhere that's in this area right here, because this is like a very very easy, like obvious high chance of like getting your opponents to spawn in this specific area. And this goes the same way for if you're on the other side of the main spawn. If you're like right here, it all goes the same way. Every rule that we just showed right there applies for if you're like right here or right here. If your opponent's right there, you shoot a couple grenades when you like go for like a starter. I shoot a rocket right there, try to make sure that you hit whatever spawn you can off rip. You make them EWO, you make them scared, EWO, blah 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 blah. Same rules apply. You can easily make them spawn right here, or you can make them spawn back here. Okay, now we're halfway through the beach. We're now halfway through with understanding the beach, which I'm very glad, because I didn't realize how long this would take. So we're now at this side of the beach's halfway point, what I usually call it. So whenever you spawn right here, this is the spawn that people are going to be going for. Remember when I said like I usually shoot like a specific rocket back here? This is the usual spot that I shoot the rocket at, because this is a very common spot. From here to maybe in this water, this area from there to here, this whole entire area is a very very common area to get like starter kicked off of. If your opponent's like right down there at like the lifeguard tower, best thing to do is, if you get like a snipe off, make them EWO, get them scared, best thing to do is shoot rockets down the beach. And when you shoot rockets down the beach, it will either A, make them spawn down there, or if you do it correctly, or like you do what the game wants you to do, it'll make them spawn right here. But in order to like fulfill that they can spawn right here, it's best to shoot grenades, specifically in that spot right there. And when I mean in that spot, I mean basically, let me go explain. Your goal is to shoot as many grenades as you can in this area, specifically this area right here, from here to the water. Might spawn a little back. This is the main spot that you're trying to shoot grenades at. This is your main target. So if you make them duel right here, depending on where you're at, if you're still right here and you run up a little bit, what I would do is, if I make them EWO or kill them right there or kick them right there, I would usually run up a little bit and go for this side spawn right here. I would usually go for this spawn right here, or get any type of kick that I can find in this area. But just know you're gonna have more faith in like going for like this spawn back here. And it's not just this one. If you run up a little bit further, you now have like a higher chance of hitting this spawn right here, but you now have like a higher chance of going for this obvious spawn right here. If you're in this position right here where we were just at, and your opponent's at the opposite end, you have either two options, because I'm gonna break it down if they were down there at like the far end. If they were at the far end and you make them EWO, you have two chances, or you have two spawn locations that you can go for. You have this little slope right here, and basically directly in front of the lifeguard tower. From here all the way over here, you have this whole entire like front lifeguard tower area that you could like force your opponent to spawn in. But that's not the only spawn they're going to be spawning at. Another secondary spawn that people like to try and go for is basically the palm tree spawn, which goes from here basically onto the actual court. So what I would usually do, or what some people might do, is like they shoot a couple grenades over here, or what I do is I shoot 3 grenades up here, and then I shoot 2 grenades or 3 up there. And you see how it blew up the car right there? It's like 50-50. As long as you cover both up here on the court and down here with at least some type of like grenades or whatever you're shooting, you have a chance of getting whatever you can off. But now if you keck them right here and you get like a grenade keck or a grenade kill off, you could try and go for a double keck, but if it doesn't spawn them on you, it might spawn them back up there. So you can try and force them up there, which it's like 50-50. But after you keck them and force them to like spawn over there and you keck them, the only possible choice that they can spawn at is on the side right here, right beside you. So you can go for a side spawn if you want. But if they don't spawn up there, they will either spawn up there. And also, if they spawn up here, if they spawn on the palm tree, same rules apply. If they spawn on the palm tree and you keck them or kill them, same rules apply. You can still technically go for a side spawn right here. You're still in map range to get like a close keck right here. From up there, from where you're standing right here to right here, this whole entire area, you're still able to get a close spawn off depending on where you are, if they spawn up here or if they spawn in front of the lifeguard tower. Now if you're right here in front of the lifeguard tower, if someone forced you right here, or if someone made you spawn right here and they didn't keck you or kill you or do nothing, don't consider yourself lucky because you're not in a good spot. But depending on where your opponent is, if you're usually right here, your opponent is either right here or down here, either back there or up here in front of this lifeguard tower. And depending on how close they're trying to spawn you there, they might be up there on the lifeguard tower, not the lifeguard tower, but on the basketball court as well. But we're not gonna exclude that. If your opponent is right here, there will usually be a main spawn. If you're right here, if your opponent's at main spawn while you're currently right here, if they're back there and you shoot like a couple rockets and you make them spawn up here, you can try and go for like a main spawn keck, like shoot a couple rockets or grenades over here, make sure they split across, blah blah blah, and you can try to keck them right there. But if you want to go for a double keck when you're standing right here, same way how I showed you earlier, basically the mid-range grenade keck method, mid-range grenade spawn right here, where we were just standing at, from where we are right now to where we were just standing at, this is now considered a mid-range spawn. So if we make them evil off main spawn, we can shoot a couple close grenades right there, and we can make them spawn right there. But if you did get a chance to make them spawn right here, because this is the common spot right here that I used to go for, if you make them get kecked or make them evo, you have like one default option to go for a double keck, or depending on what situation you're in, like a triple, I like to make them spawn beside me, either right here, or you can try and go for a back spawn right here or back here. Now if we turn around and we pretend our enemy is back here in front of the lifeguard tower or behind it, depending on where they were, if they were just here or if they were just back there by the rocks, you probably try to go for this back spawn right here. You probably try to spam as many rockets as you can back there. Boom, they either got kecked and ewoed and made them spawn over here, shot rockets over here, maybe they got kecked and ewoed. But if we like fast forward and pretend that our enemies right here in front of the lifeguard tower, what I usually do is make them ewo or try and keck them before they spawn there, blah blah blah. And if they ewo, what I usually do is I usually shoot grenades in this area right here, because that's also another area that we're going to be heading towards after I show this spot. That's another mid-range spawn right there. So if we're currently in this spot right here, what I usually do is I shoot a couple grenades starting from back there, and then I shoot them just a little bit closer until they get to right here. If you cover from back there and you shoot grenades up to right here, it'll cover an incredible amount of area, because that's another common like area that they like to spawn at. And depending on how fast you shoot the grenades and how fast you like actually force the spawn, they'll either spawn right there and get kicked right there, or they'll spawn over here and get kicked right there. And if you get that kick right there, you now have a double kick opportunity. Because the way how I usually force it, you can either, if you're standing right here, you can either A, make them spawn on the side of you right here in this area, or you could do what I do and B, go for a back spawn. Just shoot the grenades and then make them spawn like completely behind you. That's another common spot for me. Okay, now we're at the palm tree / basketball court spawn. This is another very powerful position right here, because whenever you're standing right here in this area, you're basically on top of the beach. You're basically on top of the world right now. This is like the most powerful place you could possibly be at. When you're right here, your enemy could either be down here sniping at you. They could either be at main spawn, either behind the tower or in front. But how I do it is, if they're back here in their EWO and you want to make them spawn closer, you basically shoot a couple far grenades over here and basically make sure that the grenades go into that area right there. Make sure that they cover this entire service area right here. And if you catch them or kill them, how you can go for a double is by shooting grenades in front of this area, the spot that we were just at. You can go for a double kick and shoot grenades in that spot over there, drop a sticky, and you can try and go for that spot right there. Now, triple kick wise, I know it's possible. If you make them EWO right there, what I used to do is, like, if they EWO right there in that if they EWO right there in that area, what I do is I used to run over here, and I basically like to make them spawn right here. Now, depending on how you force, they'll either spawn right here, or if you go over here, shoot grenades over here, grenade sticky bomb, they might spawn over here, or at least back here in this area. Or if you're lucky enough or unlucky, they'll either spawn on the basketball court, which is probably the most rarest spawn to hit on the beach. And same rules apply if you're on the other end of the beach. If your opponent's right here, or if they're over here in this area, they're probably over here, you probably try to make them get like far end kecked over there. You try a couple rockets, blah blah. You keck them, you didn't, they miss an EWO. You make them spawn over here. You try to shoot a couple rockets over here, try to keck them over here, blah 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 blah. You keck them, you miss, you EWO, blah blah blah. Where like the actual like triple keck part, or like a way how you can get like a free double keck right here, is basically what I just did. It's basically what I just did. But only difference is you can either try and go for a double by shooting at the spawn back here, which we're about to head to after. You can try and make them get kecked over there. If they do get kecked or not, you can try and make them get kecked by shooting rockets over here, and this by basically behind the tower back there, covering behind the railing all the way up to back there. That entire service area can get like spawned on. And if they get kecked over there, spawn over there, blah blah blah, how you can like finish it off or go for like the triple is by shooting grenades over here in this specific area, which we're also about to head towards. Basically shoot grenades in that area, from spanning from over here to over here, depending on where they spawn at or how you force it. If they spawn right there, you kill them, keck them, whatever, all of a sudden, boom, you got yourself a triple keck, or you got yourself the most freest triple kill ever. But if you want to try and finish it off and like world star them, if they spawn right there, or like it works either way. If you keck them and make them spawn right there, you could try and shoot grenades, blah 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 blah, and you could try to make them spawn over here, which is the very common spot. You could try to make them spawn right here, right beside you, so basically right beside you, or back here. Or once again, if you're unlucky, they might spawn on the basketball court. But because it's a very rare spawn, you can go for it like once a blue moon. You'll be very lucky if you can get it like mid 1v1 or not. Okay, now we're in this area right here. We're now at the front of the lifeguard tower right here at the end of the beach. So if you're right here, that means you currently got your opponent in the most wickedest spawn trap ever, which means they either are currently spawning right here. You probably got your enemy to spawn right here. Probably shot a rocket or something, made them EWO. Most obvious spot that they're gonna spawn at is right here at this little back wall, which I called personally the keck wall. You can easily make them spawn at the keck wall back here, and it spans from right here all the way to up there, depending on how or where you shoot your rockets at. And if they spawn right there, you keck them or don't keck them, make them EWO. You can either shoot rockets at the back rock spawn back there, at like the little edge of the spawns back there. But the smarter thing to do, that I usually do, is if you make them spawn at like the back keck wall and you miss or you keck them, best thing to do is go for a close grenade keck, or like a mid-range grenade keck, and make them basically spawn in this area. Basically what you're gonna do is shoot like a good like 4 to 5 grenades in that area. Take your bomb, turn around, boom, boom, boom. And your goal is basically shoot in that current area which we're about to head to after. And if you shoot in that current area, you probably have a high chance of catching them when you're right there. If you keck them or didn't get them, and you made them EWO or keck them, blah blah blah, you now currently have one of the most freest side spawns that you could ever go for. And boom, just like that, you either side keck them or the game might BS you and spawn them right behind you. And if they spawn right behind you, boom, once again you got yourself the most freest kill ever. Now we are currently behind the lifeguard tower. We are now currently in this spot right here. This is another one of the most like easily keckable spots at this end. This matter of fact, this whole entire end of the beach is very keckable. Just want to point that out. I just want to get that out. This whole entire end of the beach is like the most easily keckable place to get like the most like the most spawn trap kills at. So if you're currently right here, same rules apply. If you're like right there, you currently got your enemy in the most wickedest spawn trap ever. So you're just shooting a couple grenades or shooting a couple rockets over there, and you got them just stuck basically. But only difference is if you got them right here, instead of spawning like right in front of you, they'll spawn back there at those little back rock spawns right there. And depending on where they are, if they spawn back there in that little back rock spawn, or if they spawn on the little keck wall, no matter which spot that they EWO or kill themselves at, you'll be able to get the most freest side spawn kill off right here, or side spawn kill off right here. So if the EWO back there or the EWO by the rocks, you can just shoot grenades up front, forward, sticky bomb, boom, boom, and just like that, you force them on the most easiest side spawn keck that you ever went for right here. If you're unlucky to spawn over here and they don't keck you, this is where you can kind of try to like defy the odds a little bit. Because if your enemy is either down at main spawn, or if you're down here and your opponent's at main spawn, I don't know what your opponent's doing. So we're gonna pretend our opponent's at the halfway lifeguard tower right here. If they spawn right here, or if they spawn up here, and you keck them and make them EWO in this area right there, or up on the lifeguard tower, not the lifeguard tower, but up on the palm tree right there. What I usually do is I shoot a couple close range grenades at where we were just standing at. Sticky bomb. Stand up, and your goal is to basically shoot as many explosives from over here, this back area, to the water over here, because they might sometimes spawn in the water right there or up here. And if you end up kecking them or killing them in that area, you also have, hint hint, one of the most simplest side spawn kecks out there, and they will always possibly spawn up beside you over here, or they might spawn behind you in this area. But if they spawn like anywhere further back, then you're probably gonna get shotgunned, and you're probably gonna get fucked, and then yeah, there goes the 1v1 for you. Last spot on the beach that I'm gonna show you, because this is the last spot that I haven't explained. Now, same way how I talked about the first spot that I ever showed you at the boardwalk. If you spawn up here, this is once again the worst spot that you will ever want to be. This is the worst spot that you'll ever want to be in a beach 1v1. Both ends, both the boardwalk and this little keck wall right here, are the worst spots you'll ever want to be in. But if you spawn down here, we're gonna pretend our enemy is right here in front of the lifeguard tower. What I usually do is if you snipe them, make them EWO. Same way how I like got the mid-range grenade kick off. Since we're kind of far range, I just shoot a couple grenades over there and try to basically make them spawn in the spot that we were currently at earlier, in that area right there. And to make it seem a little bit easier, you can run up, and if you keck them or kill them, you can run up a little bit and go for another very simple side spawn. Make them stop spawning right there, or you can make them spawn back there. Last spawn I want to show you is that if they're also up there and you don't run up, if you spawn back here and you don't run up and you try and make them spawn up, and if they're like behind the lifeguard tower and you want them to spawn closer, the best way is to basically shoot at the spot that we were just at. Basically shoot close grenades at that spot right there. So what you're gonna be doing is basically shooting grenades in this area right here, and make sure that they cover that entire area from the entire front of the lifeguard tower. You have a high chance of kecking them right there, but if you want to go for a double keck, you have a high opportunity, because if you can go for a double keck, the easiest way to go for a double keck when they spawn right there is basically shooting grenades over here, sticky bomb, and I usually shoot in this area right here. you're gonna be basically worrying about this whole entire area. But to like try and like cover like a good surface area, whenever I shoot and go for the spawn, I usually shoot in this area right here specifically, because that's like the main target spawn that you're going to be going for whenever you force that cack wall spawn. And depending on how or where you shoot the rocket or where you shoot grenades depends on where they'll spawn in that area. So that's pretty much it for explaining all of the spawns, or at least explaining how to like understand how to like control the spawns a little bit more. I really hope y'all did enjoy, or at least learn a good amount of stuff from the video, which I really hope you did, because this video kind of like explaining why it took a while, because I don't like explaining shit. But if this video did help you, just let me know down in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you did. If you didn't learn shit, I apologize. There's other people, there's better people you can learn off of, so I recommend just going to them. But for the people that did stick around and like did like actually like this video did actually like help you out, let me know down in the comment section. But I'm gonna catch y'all later in the next video. Hope y'all have a good day. Hope this video helps you win some money. Y'all have a good day.